Hey, welcome to Google Drawings. As you can see on the screen, I have in front of you the end product of something that's going to look similar to what you're going to create. Google Drawings is a great place to make like a timeline. For instance, this assignment, if you look at the title, it says, "You're going to tell me about your perfect day. If everything could go well, what would be in that day?" And you can see that I'm requiring 8 stops and it's a timeline. So I'm going to go right in order. So I start at 6:30 and I head to bed at 11. Google Drawings is great for doing something like this where you're doing a timeline or simple pictures. Please know that if you need to work with numbers or put in data, you're going to want to use Google Sheets for that. That's going to be a different lesson, which we haven't gotten to yet, but we will. So we're going to take a look at Google Drawings. Like I said, though, if you're interested in doing timelines or something for a class, this would be a great way to make a snazzy looking timeline. So as you can tell, it's my perfect day, and then I'm going to ask you to put 8 elements on it, and you're going to create a background color, and you're going to add some kind of banner for the timeline. You're going to use a shape to do that, and then you're going to list 8 things that would be on your perfect day. For instance, I'm going to get up and drink coffee. I'm going to walk the dog at 8:30. I'm going to do an workout on the elliptical at 10. I'm going to do some kind of home project at noon. I'm going to have burgers for dinner. I'm going to take a boat ride on my sister's pontoon. I'm going to play euchre with some friends. And then lastly, I'm going to hopefully fall asleep to crickets that are chirping outside my window. So for me, that would be a perfect day. And so what you're going to do is you're going to create your perfect day where you have a heading, and you're going to pick a color in the background, and then you're going to list the items. We're going to attach a picture for each item. You're going to use arrows, which kind of designate on the timeline what comes first and second. As you can see, I kind of just alternated every other. I went 6:30 and then 8:30 and then 10. Yours could be any way you choose to do it. I just went back and forth. And you're going to add arrows, which point to a particular part on the timeline. And you can play with the different fonts. This really will be an assignment where you get to use a little bit of your creativity and add some elements in. So let's take a look. Where do you start? All right, I'm going to go back to my Google Drive. I'm going to bounce back and forth between tabs. Google Drawings, I'm going to go to, I'm going to go to my Google Drive. And as you can tell, remember I tell you to look here. You're going to go into your drive. You're going to go into your technology folder. You're going to go into your units folder. You're going to go into your unit 1 productivity folder. Let me back up here. You have a Google Docs because that's the unit we've already, or the little mini project we've done in this unit. You may not have a Google Drawings folder yet. So if you don't, can you just pause and go ahead and make a folder for Google Drawings and then come back? Okay, if you're back, that means we're ready to click into Google Drawings. At the moment, you won't have anything in yours. I have some because I put the assignments and the requirements in here. But yours will be blank for the moment, and that's okay. The first thing you want to do is you want to go to New, and it's not listed here. We already did Docs. We haven't gotten to Sheets yet. We haven't gotten to Slides yet. So if you hit More, you're going to see that one of the options is Google Drawings, and you want to click on that. And here is the canvas that you'll see. First thing you want to do before you do anything else is you're going to name it the title of the project, which is my perfect day. Jeez. So I titled it, and now here's my canvas. If you look, it looks kind of like a checkerboard with lots of checkers, places for checkers. It's a transparent, which means that instead of the page being white, it's more like a page that is see-through. And so that's what you will work with when you're in Google Drawing. Now, this is just the basic layout. So the first thing we want to do is, if you notice on the example, we have a nice big canvas. Well, the one that we have here is not. So the first thing I want to do is go to File, Page Setup. And like I said, this is just the standard, kind of like back in the day with the old TVs. This was the standard screen. But now If we click today, we can use a widescreen, so we're going to pick the 16:9 widescreen, and when I click on that, okay, I get a nice big canvas just like I did when I made my example. Okay, so where do I start? Well, the first thing you notice is I have a background color. And so the first thing you want to do is do your background color. And how do you do that? If I right click anywhere on this canvas, doesn't matter. I'm going to get background color. And so let's see. I think I did purple before. I'll just do purple. And so now my canvas or my background color is going to be purple. The next thing I want to do is I want to make a heading. And the cool thing about Google Drawings is that there's words that are fancier. There's word art. And so if you go to insert, which we're going to use a lot here, there's word art, which the program treats it more like a picture than just typing, but we'll be able to make our words fancier. So we're going to insert word art. And so it's going to give me a box, and I want to type in my perfect day. And I'm going to hit enter. And there it is. I can move it around. I can move it up here. And if you see the vertical line, that means I'm perfectly center. If I move it off, the line goes away. But as soon as I move it and keep moving, I am from left and right, I am centered. If I move it down, you'll see that I get a horizontal line right there. Now, if I move it in a little bit, you'll see that I get the red lines that go across one another. That means it is perfectly aligned in the page, and I can let go, and there it is. Well, I don't want it in the middle of the page because I need to make a timeline, so I am just going to grab it, and I still want the vertical line because I want it to be in the center. So when I get to the top here, I'm going to move it until I get that red line and drop it. I might choose to use one of these little tabs, click on it, and make it smaller. I can click on it, and when I go to my paint bucket, I can, instead of making it blue, maybe I want it like an orangish color, which is pretty ugly. So let me find something that's not quite as ugly. Let's see, what if I do a dark purple? Okay, I'll leave it so it kind of matches there. The next thing I can do is I can, the border weight, which is around the letters, is not much, so I can make it heavier. I can make it 8 point. Wow. I can make it 3 point. That's good. Border dash, I could do Arial if I don't want it Arial. Just like Google Docs, I can go down and I can make it like that. That kind of takes it off the page. Not what I'm looking for. How about this one? I guess if I want it, I can make it smaller. Got my red line. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. Okay, so now I have my perfect day. A little bit different if you go back to the other one. I used a different font. So you can play around with that, but you can use the heading or put in your title using word art. So now I have my background and I have my title using word art. The next thing I want to do is go down and use a shape to make my timeline. So if I go here, and like I said, I'm going to use insert a lot, or yeah, let's do this. And I go to shape, I can do all kinds of shapes. Like these give me all kinds of shapes that I could use. I could use arrows if I wanted. I could use call outs, which are going to be great when we get to the Google Slides and we have our animated characters saying things to each other. We'll come back to the call outs. If you're doing something for math or something, you could use equations. I'm just going to go back to shapes. And I need something to kind of stretch across. I mean, I could use any of them, but let's see. I'm just going to pick this guy. You see that I have the cross. I'm just going to click, drag, and there's my timeline. Again, if I don't want it that color, I go back up to my paint bucket. I could make it more of a white. And then from here, I can just drag it around. I know it's in the middle there. And once I add pictures and things, I'll be able to move that if I need to. Okay, so let's go back. I have my background color, my word art that's centered at the top. I've added a banner. The next thing I need to do is list some things that I would do. So how do I do that? I'm going to hit, I could do insert text box, but remember we did Google Docs, there was some shortcuts. These are some shortcuts. So I could actually do a text box this way or insert, and I just click and drag, and it doesn't matter what size you do originally. And I'm just going to say drink coffee. I might stretch this out. I'm going to drink coffee at, let's say I drink coffee at, 9 o'clock. And there, maybe I want it to be one line there. I can play with that. If I made it way big, then 9 o'clock's all on one line. I can just click on this and move it. Okay, so I'm going to drink coffee at 9 o'clock now that I've slept in. And the next thing I want to do is, again, let's review. Background, word art heading. We have our banner, so I have a little bit of a different shape. First item I'm going to do is drink coffee. Oh, I know, I can go back here. I forgot to show you this. Just like Google Docs, I can highlight this. I can come over here. I can bold it. I can italicize it. I can underline it if I want to. I can also pick different fonts. I can pick a different size. Okay, so I'm going to drink coffee at 9 a.m. So you can play with the fonts up there as well. The next thing I need to do is add an arrow because I need to show on the timeline where that goes. So I can either use a line for the shortcut, and I have lines here, or I can go insert. There's lines down here. I have lines, I have arrows. I also have shapes where I could do arrows here that are block. I didn't use that in my example. Let's go ahead and use a block because I didn't in my teacher example. So I'm just going to click here and drag it where I want to go. And if I move it out, it'll make it fatter. And there's where I'm going to drink coffee. Now, if I want to move it, I grab one of the tabs. I grab one of the tabs here. I can twist it that way with the little bally at the top, the little circle. As long as I have my cross, I can make it go this way. I could stretch it out and make it a fat one. I could grab it and make it smaller. I could say I don't like blue. I can go back up to my paint bucket and say I want it yellow. And so there you could do a block arrow. Like I said, on my example one, I just used the little stick ones. So you can play around with what kind of arrow you want if you want to fill it in. And so let's see. Let's review. Let's keep reviewing. I have background color. Then I went up and made my heading, my title with word art. Then I came down and picked a shape for the banner, and then I colored in my banner color that I wanted. Then I came up here and I listed my first item, and I have an arrow. The only thing I'm missing for my entry is something to represent what I'm doing. So when I go back, I'm going to, you can either go here as a shortcut. I could do an image here where I could upload from the computer. If I have one on my computer, I could search the web. I can get one from my drive. I could get one from my photos if I have one. I can search by a URL. If I have a webcam, I could take a picture of my actual coffee cup. So I can use the shortcut, or If you forget, insert will take you just about anything you need when you're working with Google Drawings. So I could go to insert image, and we just saw the same option. So I'm going to search the web. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in coffee, hit enter, and I get all these kinds of examples. Let's say that I do this one. Once I click on it, I tell it to insert it. Obviously, I'm going to have to resize it so I can grab it from any of these points. Please note that if you hit the shift key, it'll keep it sized and not distort it. What I mean by that is, so watch if I go from the middle and I don't hit the shift key. If I don't hold the shift key down, I just drag it, watch how skinny it makes it. Yikes. See how distorted it is? And then if I drag it this way, it's pretty distorted. So what I can do is drag it from the side, and if I hold the shift key and I drag it smaller, then it's not distorted. And I can actually move my coffee cup here. It's still way too big. Okay, so I'm going to move my coffee cup here. Maybe I'm going to move this up. And I fit my coffee cup right there. And I turn it around here, drag it out so maybe it touches. I'm going to move it so it touches the picture. Yeah, I like that. And so 9 o'clock, I'm drinking coffee here. And so that's all there is to it, gang. You're going to make a background. You're going to make a heading using word art and fill it in. And then you're going to pick some kind of shape to make your timeline. You can fill it in. Then you're going to just list 8 items, however you list them on your timeline. Obviously, it's a timeline, so you want them to go in order. Once you type it in and play with the font, pick your arrow style. Maybe if you do one like I did here, you can use a color. If not, like the teacher example, you can just use the skinny arrows, and then you want to add a picture. And so from here, really, it's a matter of you using your creativity. Just know that if you're ever maybe going to do a timeline for like social studies or science, as long as you're not trying to calculate data and you wanted to incorporate a timeline, you can then you could insert this work into a Google Docs so that you would have a nice, neat timeline that would be pretty impressive. And so with that, I'm going to sign out and I'm going to let you get busy.